All right, welcome to another edition of Operation American Dream, the show that is the gift for the military and veteran community of San Diego. Eve, we've got a good show lined up.
We have an amazing show lined up for us today. We've got some great guests like Captain Warner, Mike Chisel, Sindie Alvarado with her friends from the Wave Academy, and Moses Maddox. Who doesn't love Moses?
Well, it sounds like we should stop talking and let's just get it going.
We should.
All right, welcome back to Operation American Dream. Eve, we've got a good guest in the studio now.
I am so excited.
Captain Warner, you've been on the radio show a few times with us, and it's always awesome to talk to you because the first time I talked to you was a couple years ago when you took command of Point Loma, and you were talking about all the things you were going to do. And now every time we talk, we just talk about all the amazing things that you've done.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dana, we have accomplished quite a bit in the last couple of years. And you know, as I go out and about and talk about Naval Base Point Loma, you know, most people associate Point Loma as the home of our San Diego nuclear attack submarines at Submarine Squadron 11. But it's so much more. You know, it's the headquarters of Admiral Tyson and 3rd Fleet. And with 60 to 70 other tenant commands, Naval Base Point Loma has established itself as a technical hub for the United States Navy. And what's fascinating about Point Loma is while we're down at the end of the point, it was originally the Army's Fort Rosecrans. And we have just some amazing history down there from the home I live in, which is 113 years old, hardwood floors, tin roof ceilings, to just dozens of coastal defense batteries. And so it's a hidden gem, it's a hidden jewel down at the end of Rosecrans Street. And we've been doing a lot to try to improve the footprint down there and provide a lot more for the sailors and their families, and I think we've been successful.
And I think that's an important point to touch on also, is that a lot of the stuff that you do, you know, you get commanding officers that are very mission focused, but a lot of them don't spend as much time really looking out for the sailors, and you do such an amazing job. So what are some of the projects that you've completed that it's really about the morale, welfare, and recreation for the sailors?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking, and thanks for the kind words. I mean, you're right. We established my first year in command as making Naval Base Point Loma your Navy destination. And when we talked about that destination, it really expanded into an end-to-end experience. From the time you meet our sentries at the gate to the time you leave, you're going to get a 5-star quality experience. And so right off the bat, we tore down our old deck at Ballast Point, established a new teakwood deck, about 6,500 square feet, right on the water. Just an amazing venue for weddings, our Sunday champagne brunches, all sorts of events. We opened up our beach at Smuggler's Cove. We cleaned it up. We opened up paddleboard and kayak rentals right there at Ballast Point, so you can go right out to the untouched nature of Point Loma, out to where the Coast Guard lighthouse is. And then we just started expanding. We built and renovated a new clubhouse for all hands, private 20-seat movie theater, Xbox games, of course the Clubhouse Cafe, and we just continue to develop and evolve our programs to put the spotlight back on the sailor and the families while maintaining that operational proficiency and operational mission accomplishment that we've been known for a very long time.
And you guys have won awards around your operational proficiency also.
So we have, and so while I'm not a fully operational command with ships and airplanes, I do run a galley. And so in order to keep those ships and airplanes at sea, we got to feed the sailors. And we have 2 galleys. We have what's called CZ Hall up at the Harbor Drive Annex, one of our other main footprints. And we have the main base galley, which is going to be redesignated the Ballast Point Galley here in about 3 months. CZ Hall won the Captain Edward F. Ney Award as the top galley in the world for a small installation.
So how does that process work? How does the...
And do we get access to that? Are we going to
you can absolutely be my guest.
Free samples in the green room? Is that what we're doing?
That's right.
Yes.
The culinary specialists that work at CZ Hall and the main base galley are just incredible men and women that deliver high quality food service day in and day out. So the process is, it's an annual process. It's just nonstop every year. We look at things from supply management to sanitation, to food preparation, to creativity, to customer service. So it is the full spectrum of essentially a restaurant quality inspection. And once that inspection is done with all the galleys in a certain region, it gets whittled down to the top 1 or 2, and then you get nominated to the next level, and the next level, and then ultimately you get the final inspection. And we were terribly excited to find out the results. And in about mid to late March, we found out we were the winner. So
What'd you get?
well, so we got a huge trophy, nonetheless. It was another wonderful thing to put in our display case. And we got to send a team of about 4 sailors up to Chicago to go accept that award and get the recognition. And then generously, we are able to select 1 sailor to go attend a 2-week class up at the Culinary Institute of America. So it's
So
going to be.
you're going to make him cook you a nice meal
That's
when he gets
exactly
back.
right.
I think so.
We should bring him back. He could cook it here on the show.
We're going to need some guests for the week after that for the show if he's free or she is free. I should say.
It's actually a young man. He's
Okay.
he's a phenomenal young sailor that's going to go do great things for the Navy.
So you have, and I always not mess with you about this, but you've got to be the focus of some envy related to the base that you command. I mean, you've got a huge footprint, right? And a footprint that a lot of people would know how big it is and what it really covers. But you've also got the most beautiful base in the most beautiful city in the U.S.
So we do, Daniel, and Eve. If you haven't been down, you absolutely. We'll have you down for the galley. We'll have you down to Ballast Point.
You
there.
notice that Eve's comments were all around the food.
I know. Well,
Yes, but you know what? You've also got a festival coming up. In the short time we have left, I don't want our listeners and our audience to miss out on that. So talk about Freedom Fest.
So Freedom Fest is an annual event that Naval Base Point Loma hosts, in which we open up our Harbor Drive Annex to all active duty personnel and their families and their guests, as well as DoD civilians and their guests. Essentially, you need to have an ID card to get on base. But it is a full day event of free carnival rides, free events for the kids. And then, of course, this year we have 18 gourmet food trucks showing up.
There's the food. I'm
And
there.
I'm telling you, we have tailgating spots for all-day tailgating. And then, of course, that ends with live entertainment. Well, not ends, but all throughout the day. We have 3 live bands playing throughout the day. And then, of course, at the end of the fireworks show, the Big Bay Boom. My Harbor Drive Annex at Naval Base Point Loma is conveniently situated between 2 of the fireworks barges. So we get fireworks in stereo, and it's just an amazing event. And I encourage everyone who has access, or if you know someone, like you guys know me, you are more than welcome to join us for Freedom Fest on July 4th.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. Thanks for all that you're doing at Point Loma. Thanks for the leadership you've provided to anybody else that comes in the future and everything that you've done for the base. Thanks so much for coming on and spending some time with us.
Well, thank you very much. Pleasure to meet you, Eve, and I look forward to seeing you all again. So.
Well, and if you want to get involved with the Freedom Fest, if you want to show up to the Freedom Fest, we're going to run the URL right down there that you can take a look at, and we'll be right back with more Operation American Dream.
Hey, welcome back to Operation American Dream. We're here with Daniel Lehman and our new good friend, Mike. Thank you for being here, Mike Chisel from the Mike Chisel Group.
Yes,
And
thank
he
you for
is a
having
Naval
us.
Academy graduate. How exciting is that?
It's not exciting being there.
No.
Yeah.
But once
It's
you're
great to
done,
be from.
You get the
Yes.
certificate, you get all of that. And you've
Yes.
had a great career, so tell us about your background.
Born and raised Minnesota and Texas. Ended up going to the Naval Academy to go play football. It was that or...
Did you finish up high school in Texas?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
That would
Yep.
explain the football thing, right? A
Yep.
little bit.
Yep, Texas, Friday Night Lights. It's kind of like the biggest thing in Texas, other than steak. You know, they
Right.
do a lot of steak. But ended up at the Naval Academy playing ball there, and got stationed in the Marine Corps out here at Camp Pendleton.
What took you to the Naval Academy? I mean, I know football did, but there had to be something else related to service to the country or something. I mean, what were your thought there? Most people that go to the Naval Academy,
My skill either landed me at a small D1 school like the Naval Academy, or it was going to be an Ivy League, like a 1AA type thing. Did not have enough talent to play at UT, where I would love to have played football. But I took visits at the Ivy League schools and the Naval Academy, and the Naval Academy was just a better fit. They were much more people in alignment with my ethos and values. grandfather was a B-17 navigator, POW, shot down in German-occupied France, and he was my hero growing up. So if you've seen the movie Memphis Belle, or if you've seen the movie The Great Escape, that was my granddad's prison of war camp.
Wow.
So he was my hero growing up, and it always just led me to wanting to serve.
All right, follow-up question. Why the Marine Corps?
So the Marines at the Naval Academy take it to the nth degree. They go crazy with it. But Marine or Navy, Marines are it's just a tougher profession. It's more suited for those that just want to get out there and get their hands dirty and do fun stuff.
So fun stuff. So you got out of the Naval Academy. You decided to go the Marine Corps route as opposed to the Naval route.
Yep.
And then, so what was your job when you're in the Marine Corps?
I was a communications officer.
Communications officer,
Yep.
And then you spent. What'd you get out, a captain or?
Got out as a captain, correct.
Okay. So and then you got out, and then you decided for some reason to go into real estate, right? Did you kind of fall into it, like?
Yeah, I had after my second deployment, my family went on a cruise and met a top producer in real estate working up in LA. So when I first got into real estate, I mentored under a top producer up there with Rodeo Realty and worked the LA real estate. And you want to talk about a circus. LA was a circus. So
LA is a circus.
it absolutely is a circus. Literally, he was selling his house to Pam and Tommy Lee and called me up crazy because the retractable roof was smoking. So I had to run over there and
You know why I deal
It
with
was a
veterans? You know why I work with veterans? Because I can't stand any of that stuff.
No, for the inspection process, they literally brought an individual that was an energy guru through with like this rickety wooden compass. And she was like, I don't like the energy vector vortices in this section of the house. And it almost killed the deal.
Wow.
Home inspection was perfect, but the energy,
Yeah, you can't have
wooden compass, yeah.
you need some feng shui.
Yeah,
You can't have
so-
no feng shui.
LA is a lot of fun. It's fun to see and visit, but
and
for
you know,
me, it's just out to lunch.
Well, you know, we were talking before the segment started about kind of what happens, right? When you start getting some success, and you kind of initially kind of start by chasing the money, but then you realize it's kind of like an empty kind of feeling if there's not a bigger. So talk
Absolutely.
to that for a second.
Well, when I was young and dumb, getting out of the Marine Corps, I wanted to get into real estate to go make money. And it was really no other pursuit other than to gain wealth and get money. And I think there's a lot of people that fall into that trap, especially with real estate. You look at sales prices, you look at commissions and whatnot, and it's a trap. Real estate is not easy. It's a difficult profession. It's 1099. You're commission based. You got to go out there and get it. But what I've realized is even when you sell a $2 million property and land a very large commission check, the satisfaction that you get from that is fleeting. I mean, you can go to a nice dinner, you take a little vacation, but it's really not satisfying. Chasing the dollar is not satisfying. So you quickly realize that it's not about money, it's about people. And you know, what I like to talk about in real estate is we get hyper obsessed with the money and the real estate. I mean, you look at shows like $1 Million Listing, and it's all about the size of the commission, the sales price number.
It's kind of society as in general, right?
Yes.
It's such a false sense. I find that no matter how successful you are from a monetary standpoint, unless you're doing something that's bigger than yourself or that serves a bigger purpose
Right.
than yourself, it's just gonna be fleeting.
Totally.
What as we kind of wrap up, like so you obviously served in the Marine Corps, and a lot of the business that you do now is helping military families.
Right.
And you're kind of on the upper end of that, like maybe but what's one solid piece of advice to any military family or any veteran family out there that, as it relates to real estate?
Buy real estate and buy smart, and get with an amazing loan officer. Get with an amazing realtor that's a professional that cares about you.
That knows VA.
That knows VA, that understands that real estate is not about the property. It's not even necessarily about the location. It's about the people.
And you work with a great lender named Dan Chapman at Homebridge, who's also a Marine Corps veteran.
Correct.
Great guy, does a great job.
Right.
So that's awesome.
And
Yeah,
I think
we know
you
a
can
number
also
of them.
help with investment strategies too, right? You're talking about net worth of $5,000 versus net worth of $250,000.
Right. Well, I can't tell you how many times we'll meet a a senior staff NCO at the end of their career that has never used their housing allowance to buy real estate.
Absolutely.
And maybe they've got the TSP or something like that and they've squirreled away $100,000 through diligent savings. But I look at another senior staff NCO that's exiting their career that has owned real estate at the various different duty stations, and then the difference in net worths are staggering.
Yeah.
I mean, the averages across the board, the average net worth of someone who decides to empower their landlord with their BAH for their entire career is about $5,000 to $10,000.
And BAH, you mentioned BAH. BAH is a tax-free income that can be going towards a tax-advantaged asset.
Right.
So it's just the differences in the way that real estate works is immense. So
Right.
if you are interested in reaching out to Mike, we're going to run his URL along the bottom. It's the Mike Chisel Group, former Marine, serving veterans every day, and we'll be right back with more Operation American Dream. All right, welcome back to Operation American Dream. One thing about San Diego that's a beautiful thing is that there is such a large veteran contingent. There's 250,000 veterans in San Diego, 100,000 active duty. And another beautiful thing is business for purpose. So businesses that take advocacy in the community and turn it into business for themselves. So with that, I've got Sindie Alvarado with me, who is the, I don't know, how'd you call that? The owner or the founder?
Creator.
The creator, the mastermind,
Creator, yeah.
the queen bee.
I'll take that. I'll take that too.
Hey, you can have it. Buy a home, save a vet.
Yes.
So your business is mortgage lending. You're an expert in mortgage lending.
That's correct.
But you've taken that and you really have a heart for the military community, for the veteran community.
Yes.
Centrally kind of around the problems of PTSD, military sexual trauma, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And so what you've done is you've created a program where when people buy homes, or they do loans with you when they buy their home, which is a valiant thing that you do anyways in the community.
Yes.
You go a step further and you take a portion of those proceeds, help the veteran get into the home, and you take a portion of those proceeds and you support some of the local nonprofits.
That's right.
So tell me about Buy a Home, Save a Vet.
So Buy a Home, Save a Vet is a passion of mine. I've always wanted to do for-purpose business. Been in the business for 20 years. I am the creator of it, and I wake up every day just excited about raising donations for the nonprofits that we have that are attached to Buy a Home, Save a Vet. And it feels good to just be able to get up and do that every day.
We were just talking the segment before with Mike Chisel about how when you chase kind of money and you kind of do it for yourself, it ends up being kind of like Chinese food. Like you eat and then like an hour later you're hungry.
Yes.
So to do something bigger for the community is just really awesome, and I applaud you for it. So you brought with you from the Wave Academy, you've got Spike Bywater, who is the winner of the day's Coolest Name Award.
Yes.
And Dave Towe, sorry, close second. Daniel Lehman's kind of lame. You know, I'm like a distant fourth. But tell me about the Wave Academy. Or do you want to introduce them from the Wave Academy?
Yes. Love the Wave Academy. I've actually experienced some of their services myself. It's a beautiful thing. This is Spike Bywater, and this is Dave Towe, the founder. And go ahead and tell them.
Dave, tell me about the Wave Academy and kind of what it does.
Okay. Wave Academy was founded about 6 years ago on the preface that warm water has an amazing effect on the mind, body, spirit system. So over 6 years ago, we started to experiment with getting soldiers into water and giving them therapeutic treatment in 96-degree water. What we found after 8 to 16 weeks treatment was we got a very nice reduction of post-traumatic stress, about 28% on average for the men coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. So we started a local program here in San Diego. It's extremely successful. We have right now over 67 vets in the water every week that retreat.
Well, Spike, you were a beneficiary of this, right?
Totally.
So walk me through kind of whatever you want to share about your story and about your experience with the Wave Academy.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just a little short piece. I went to Afghanistan in 2010. I was a prison guard for Al-Qaeda and Taliban insurgents. The moment I came back to the United States, I knew my brain was racked. So I started getting some help, and what do? They got me on about 11 different prescription medications.
VA kind of stuff?
All VA help.
Got it.
And I was a lab rat. I did several studies. They went wrong, and finally it came down to I couldn't operate and do my job anymore. So I got a medical separation for post-traumatic stress. A month later, I went into cardiac arrest.
Was your plan to stay in the military long term?
Yes.
So it was really like a disruption, and your world was pretty much rocked by this issue.
Oh, completely. I thought I was going to be a lifer. That was my goal. That's what I really wanted. And so things changed after my cardiac arrest. I had to reprogram everything with my help, with my mom being my caregiver. My hairstylist here in San Diego told me about Wave Academy. So get me in, it's water, I'm all in. By my third session, I had such a spiritual God connection. I received moment and permission that this is what I'm gonna give to my brothers and sisters. So not only did it change, it gave me a life, it gave me purpose and direction on what I want to do now for my life.
So you take your experience, your positive experience from it, and now you're also able to, like you said, with your business, you're able to give of that to other people and really make an impact with other people as well.
Yeah, and I wake up wanting to live now, and I have 0 suicide attempts since being in this program. Before starting the program, I had several suicide attempts. Now I've been gifted a scholarship by Wave Academy to become a practitioner.
That's
I've been a
awesome.
practitioner for 2 years, and now I'm supporting my brothers and sisters.
Well, a lot of people talk about that 22 a day, and people are doing push-ups on videos and stuff like that about suicide prevention for veterans. It goes so much further than that, too. 22 suicides, I mean, that's very much an old study covering a couple states and not even covering the whole veterans population. So I think the problem is much bigger. So walk us through, Dave, what's kind of the science behind it, or what's the thought behind it?
Well, the thought behind it is first of all, our bodies are made of water. Our bodies understand the connection with water. When we move into a body of 96-degree water, which is your skin temperature, in about 28 minutes, it sedates your nervous system, which it doesn't do just sitting on a massage table or a land gravity environment. So the whole body begins to slow down. The agitation slows down. The stress seems to slow down. And the body gets like a big fresh breath of fresh air.
I could understand. I mean, like sitting in a bath even and sitting down and just kind of relaxing. I mean, people take baths after hard days for a reason, right?
Right.
Totally.
Well, I mean,
This is much more than, I mean,
Well, I don't
it's-
mean to demean it to a bath. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, you know, it sounds. I'm kind of like nodding off here as you kind of.
listening to it.
Well,
Yeah.
if you are interested in getting information about the Wave Academy, we'll roll the information on the Wave Academy. But more importantly, if you're a veteran or if you want to support veterans and you're interested in buying homes, Buy a Home, Save a Vet solves those two issues at the same time. So take a look at Buy a Home, Save a Vet. Connect with Sindie, yeah. So thank you guys for coming on. We'll be right back in a couple minutes. We've got Moses Maddox coming on from Cal State University of San Marcos, and we're going to wrap it up from there.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Welcome back to Operation American Dream. Great show so far.
It has been amazing. I even got that band from
With the
Spike.
Wave, from
Spike
Spike?
gave me the band out in the
Spike
green room.
Bywater,
I know.
winner of the best name of the day.
Amazing. Yeah, she is. I'm wearing it.
So we talked to Sindie Alvarado. We talked to some great guests. A lot of the things that we talk about are people that do multiple things. You're in staffing, right? I don't know, does that demean it if I call it
No,
staffing?
you can call it whatever you want.
So you help veterans
help veterans find
You help
work.
veterans find work, which is an
Yes.
amazing thing. I help veterans buy homes, and what we always say is that if you serve your country, you deserve to own a piece of it. So what I wanted to talk to you about, and we brought on our good friend Moses Maddox to talk about, because he is the expert in education and
is.
kind of man about town.
The man, the myth, the legend, Moses.
I do refer to myself as that.
You
so,
do?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're
yes.
man about the town, doing veteran advocacy stuff, but essentially located in kind of education. I wanted to talk about what else do veterans deserve, and for me, it's like veterans don't deserve to own a home. They deserve access to the information, and they have to take that and run with it, right? Like nothing should be given; it's an opportunity. So talk through. I want to just kind of have a real quick roundtable on employment and education, and the best person to kind of start the thought process is probably Moses.
I definitely appreciate that. One of the things I've encountered throughout my years in nonprofit and education is that there is this sense of entitlement. I'm a veteran, I deserve something. And they look really supremely shocked when I'm like, you don't deserve a thing. Like, you served your country, thank you. You deserve maybe some opportunities. But at the end of the day, the onus is on you to go grab those opportunities. The onus is on you to go educate yourself. The great thing about being a veteran is that we are literally drowning in a sea of goodwill. There's hundreds of nonprofits out there. Basically, a lot of them are doing the same thing. So the information is out there, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to go get it.
It's kind of a controversial thing, right? Like a lot of times I'm out in town and I'm talking to people and it's like, and veterans deserve this, and we're so enveloped in veterans deserving services and deserving support, which I fully 1,000% believe. Sometimes just because you're a veteran doesn't always mean you're like a super good guy, right?
It doesn't mean,
that's a tough, like.
I wouldn't say a super tough guy. Just because you're a veteran doesn't mean you're qualified.
That's true.
You know, it was like the civilian world is a vastly different world than the military world. It's vastly different on every single level. But I don't know how many times I've had talks with corporations when they're like, you know, I want to learn what veterans go through as an HR person. And my question is why? Like, it's the veteran's job to sell their skills to you. You're the buyer, they're the seller.
Well, counterpoint, right? Let's counterpoint that, because I know Eve has a counterpoint.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the veterans need to be educated on how to translate their skills effectively, so I, as a civilian employer, can understand exactly what it is that they're capable of. But I think, and I've started a training program through Point Loma, I think corporate America owes it to the veterans to understand their world as well. So we've got these classes to teach civilian recruiters how to recruit and find and hire veterans, because it is a different world. So I think it's the marriage of both parties being responsible, the veteran for understanding how to translate their skills so that I understand it, but I also need to take ownership as corporate America, who loves this country and wants to hire veterans to understand how to do that.
Well, the great thing about about when veterans get that right and take that responsibility, like you're saying, is they become the best employees that these corporations can possibly
they're
have.
Promoted twice as fast. They learn twice as fast. Amazon did a study. It showed they outperformed and outproduced their civilian counterparts 2 to 1. You don't need a lot of those statistics to realize, holy cow, I need to hire more veterans.
You're absolutely right. And that's one of the things I work with in my program, is giving those skills up front. The resume writing, the 30-second elevator spit, the 30-second elevator pitch, the ability to look someone in the eye and shake their hand and say, hey, I'm this.
So you're talking about ESTEP?
I'm talking about the ESTEP and professional development. Though they're one and the same, they're all funded through Office of Naval.
So tell us about it. It's through Cal State San Marcos.
Yeah, so it's through Cal State San Marcos, and what we do is we provide internship opportunities to veterans who are in a STEM major to work through the Office of Naval Research on renewable energy research. So that's really cool.
I get why he takes the stance that he does, because he's pushing students to be the best that they can be.
That's right.
He's pushing veterans to be the best they can be.
Well, even whenever I joined the Mission Continues back in 2012, this is a veteran organization headed by veterans, but I still had to sell my veteran experience. I still had to tell them why all of this translated.
You as a veteran had to sell your veteran experience to veterans.
Yes.
Right?
At the end of the day, no matter where you're at, the best you could hope for is that if you're equally qualified as someone else, that your veteran status, puts you a nose ahead. That's all you can really hope for. But at the end of the day, if I told you, hey, Eve, I was a mortuary affairs specialist in 2004, the first thing you're going to think of is PTSD, right? Like, oh, you dealt with dead people. Right. That's horrible. But if I said part of my job was out there doing community relations, bridging the gaps, often language barriers, religious barriers, cultural barriers, to have these people understand what we're here to do as a method of respect and love, that sounds way better.
It's your job to translate that so that I'm not going, now where can I put you in my organization?
It is your job not to automatically assume that I have PTSD and crazy. Right. So that's where we mesh the two. But it's also, the onus is on the veteran to ensure that he or she sells themselves to not be crazy, that I'm a veteran, I deserve stuff. Like, yes, I was a veteran, but I'm here to move on.
Unfortunately, we got to wrap it up. We've had some great guests on.
We have indeed.
We continue to raise the bar with Operation American Dream. If you've got any ideas for shows, please reach out to us. But that's it. So we will see you next week.